30. Cook with his first point. Chesney forces a shot. Faywell, instead of grabbing it, kicks it off like in volleyball. And as a result, Chesney gets a basket. Dominguez brings it down. Over to Cook. Back to Dominguez. Dominguez is the guy we want to get fouled, and Mann fouls Dominguez. It's a shooting foul. We could use a couple with 1:45. They stop the clock, put Dominguez on the line. I don't know about you, but I'm glad it's Danny shooting the foul. Danny's first shot. It's 1-1. Oh, it's off. Lambert brings it down. The ball comes over. Danny tries to steal it. I didn't see the collision, but this ref did. No, I'm not. I'm doing the play-by-play.
We could lose this
ball. 1:41 to go. First one is in. Chesney makes it. It's about his 5th point of the night. 13.
How do you know?
And now it's a 5-point game. I took it out of the book. 5-point game. He's got a chance to cut it to 2 buckets, and he does. And now we see the Aurora Christian press again. Dominguez into Andy. Davidson out of position. He backpedals and gets back. Out to Cook. Cook is blocked. Into Andy. Put it up, Andy. He's fouled!
Oh.
Come on!
Oh, come on! Come on!
No, I can't do that. Andy was fouled. No call. Gove comes in for Cook. 1:27 to go. Aurora brings the ball down. Out of bounds. This time they get the call right. 1:21. We've got a 2-basket cushion. Into Dominguez. Dominguez comes by 2 defenders. Brings it back out. Over to Gove. Back to Dominguez. Back out to Gove. Gove drives the lane, puts it up. He gets fouled while he's shooting by 41. I'd say it's at least 6 fouls. That's at least 5. He's out.
1 minute, 6 seconds.
How many?
1 minute, 6 seconds. Fourth quarter.
What's the score?
38-34. Spartans.
Exciting game. It's going right down. Number 31 has got his label sticking out. Black-soled shoes. His name is Wolf, like in Big Bad. Come on, Jeff, we could use this. Ooh, that first one looked very good. It tipped off. Come on, Jeff, we can use this one. That's Jeff's first miss of the night. I don't know. I don't have it all. Second shot. It's up. Ooh, it looked good. Off to Faywell. Faywell spins. He's fouled. Davidson fouled him. He's going to get 2.
He must have missed 400 points on free throws.
Oh, yeah. Foul again on Davidson. And Davidson has, that's at least his 3rd, maybe his 4th, with 1:04 to go. Mike is long, a little bit to the right. It's a 4-point lead. Yeah, we could use it. Mike looks good on that one. Ooh, that was in there, and it dropped out. Davidson with the rebound. Pushes it up to Mann. Mann has to bring it back. Looks for Davidson. Lambert open underneath, and he's got it. It's a 2-point game with 53 seconds into Dominguez. And a timeout goal. We're right down to the wire. Spartans can. Okay, we've got 49 seconds to go. The Spartans with a 2-point lead.
this.
He just smiled at me and winked. Chris did a good job on Davidson while he was in there. He's had 10 in this half alone. Andy can't go out on him because then we got nobody to rebound.
The problem is on the give and go, Andy passes inside and,
doesn't get it back.
Nobody can hang on to it in there.
49 seconds.
Okay, it's Brian Johnson and Faywell at the forwards. Andy at the center. The ball comes into Andy. Dominguez and Gove at the guards. Let's hope for no turnover here. And he says he bounced it off of his hip. And now we've got a pretty grim situation. Ball comes over to Lambert. He drives the lane. Faywell fouls him. No call. And they get it. We got a break on.
We got a break on that one, didn't we?
Okay.
We have to even up now.
Good pass into Faywell. And he dishes it off to Andy, who recovers the ball. And the ball comes back to Gove, who does a little steps. We don't need a shot, guys. Oh, and Mike puts one in. Awesome shot. Awesome shot. There is the ball game right there, folks.
All right, let's go, Mike.
23
What a
seconds
time
left.
Mike picked to put his fourth and fifth point of the night in.
Free throw, too.
It's now 40 to 36 with Faywell at the line. Chance for a three-point play and a chance for a 5-point margin.
23 seconds.
Mike is up. The ball is off, and Gove sneaks in there. Brian Knight.
I thought they had time for one more play, but not that play.
I was sitting with Bill Horgan, who was the receiver coach under Pardee. And right after that play, he says, there's the ball game. At halftime, he said,
Tough game.
that's right, 19 seconds in the game. Are you on or off? We're on. There's the Wheaton Christian huddle and our cheerleaders next door.
Go to score.
Davidson at the line. Davidson has a total of about 18 points. 18 points. He played a whale of a ball game. Andy Schmidt has 20 points, high scorer in the game. Chris has 8. Faywell has 5. Dominguez has 4. Gove has 2. Cook has 1 to round out our scoring of 40 points. First shot for Davidson. It's a 1-and-1. A lot of pressure on the front end. It's up. It's out. Faywell with a big rebound. Mike has been the whole game here at the end. Over to Andy, to Dominguez, and Davidson. 2 shots. Two. What the ref calls 1-and-1. And it looks like Davidson is out of the game. Played a fine ball game. Oh, he had a yellow card.
Who gave it to him?
No, he didn't get a yellow card. There's no yellow card in basketball. There's 5 fouls. Number 45, Wojciak checks in. A 1-and-1 for Dominguez. Danny with the first one. It rims off. Mike is a ton on the boards, and because of that, he draws another foul. Back to the line again.
Enough free throws to add 20 points to our score, I think.
What?
We're not going to lose this one.
No, this one's over. Mike with his first one. He is right there. Mike has a total of 6 points.
There's 9 seconds, and it's 41-36 Spartans.
Mike with a chance to make it 7. He's been doing well lately, and he's there. 7 points for Mike. Wojciak with the shot. It's not Davidson out there, is it? Comes off to Faywell. He's fouled.
And
Final score.
the final score is 42-36 Spartans.
We have to go. Yeah, I know it. No, I won't.
Tell them all is forgiven, Dale.
Come back.
That's a good one. You saw it coming, didn't you? Picked the right time to come. Good game.
I didn't see the one down in Indiana.
And it's the Wheaton Christian Spartans being 86. And it's the Wheaton Christian Spartans being the guest against Timothy Christian. Start of the game, 6-minute quarters, starting for Wheaton Christian, Faywell and Bonga at forwards. Andy Schmidt jumping center, Dominguez and Gold at guards. The tap is to Faywell, over to Bonga, intercepted by number 53, who brings it down, swings it over to the far side, back to the top of the key. Wheaton in a man-for-man defense. 52 looking for the ball. Gold pops it out of bounds. We get the call. Spartans out of bounds. Dominguez brings it down over the timeline. Ball comes into Chris. Chris drives the baseline, puts the ball up. Shots too far. Andy picks him up. 2 points for Wheaton Christian. Schmidt on the rebound. Give Andy an offensive rebound and a nice follow-up. Chris got a good shot, but put it a little bit too hard off the backboard. Ball comes to 41. Beautiful breakup by Faywell. Turnover caused by Faywell. Schmidt leads the charge. Dominguez avoids the travel. Comes back to Mike. Mike with the shot. He's got nothing but bottom of the net.
I'm speechless.
Terrific shot by Mike Faywell. Okay, Mrs. Galbranson, what do you think of that shot?
Just awesome.
Wheaton with a 4-0 lead. Blocked by Schmidt. Gold brings it down. Back to Schmidt. Back to Gold, but reclaims the dribble. Dominguez over the timeline. 4-0 with 4.5 minutes to go. Chris, no place to drive. Forces a shot. Off the iron. Back to Chris on a long rebound. Chris drives. Puts the ball up. No call. Steve Clem says, Chris, you forced the ball. Chris turned around looking for the ref to make a call. Got to just settle down a little bit here. Mike goes over to Chris and says, all right, let's cool it here. Number 31 palming the ball across the court line. Awesome play by Jeff Gove. Terrific play.
Nice play, Jeff.
Way to go, Jeff. Timothy ball, 4 minutes to go. And 2 points from Faywell and 2 from Schmidt. Jeff fails to protect the end line on the second bump, is called for the foul. Good call by the ref. Jeff needs to play defense with his feet and not with his hands. Got to shut off that end line. Ball comes in, Chris on defense, into Andy's man. Ball is up over Andy. Off Schmidt's hand to Faywell. Dominguez brings it down, over to Gove. Back over to Gove. Gove puts it up. He looked golden there. Andy with an awesome rebound and puts it in for 2. 4 points for Schmidt. Fantastic. A nice looking shot by Gove, too. Timothy Christian. We've got number 50. Number 55 thinks he's Patrick Ewing, and he's got the little shirt on underneath. Dominguez passes to Faywell, but he's too late, and the ball is intercepted. .55. Dominguez with the steal. Danny, take it all the way. Put it up, kid. Off the glass. Over to Chris. Chris with the shot. A little bit long. That's okay. Oh, nice defense by Gove on that play. Nice defense by Andy with a blocked shot. Another one, and this time he gets the foul. It's going to be a 3-point play. Might have got just a little piece of him on the way up. Andy's foul. Foul on 53, Andy Schmidt. Make that 35, Andy Schmidt. 35 is Schmidt, 32 is Bonga. Faywell is 43, Gove is 33, and Dominguez with 5. Shot is up, too much legs, shows the threat off. Faywell rebounds without leaving the ground. Seemed like nobody was ready for that rebound. Ball in the corner to Chris. Chris drives back to Andy. A nice play, and we're going to get a call here. 3 seconds on... What was the call?
3 seconds.
3 seconds on who?
I think it was on Mike.
3 seconds in the lane. Good give and go by Chris and Andy there. There's a good shot by number 40, and it's a tight game, 6-4. Spartans with a tissue paper thin lead. Oh, puts it down, double dribble. Good call by the ref. What is Jeff thinking about? Gun Spartans can't be beat. No way. Andy with the interception. Chris with a hand up. Dominguez brings the ball down. Dominguez, the little fuzzball. In the corner to Chris, slapped away. Gold ball. Good scrappy defense. Schmidt inbound. Chris is back to Andy. Andy puts it up, and he's right down. Beautiful, beautiful touch. Eight to 4. 6 points for Schmidt. Travel, good call. There was no bump there. I was afraid the ref would call a foul, but he saw the play correctly. Minute and a half to go. First quarter. Wheaton Christian 8, Timothy 4. In the corner to Chris. Ooh, Chris forces a pass. It's intercepted.
Got to put him up high.
Yeah, well, he can't go up in the air and be committed. No place to go with it either. Okay, we got Jason Morrow taking his jersey off. 3 seconds. 3 seconds. Morrow for Bonga. Minute and 12 to go in the first quarter. Steve just needs Chris to settle down. Gove brings it down. Over to Dominguez. Back to Gove. Gove drives the lane, puts it up. Nice shot.
Nice shot, Jeff.
Jeff is golden. Way to go, Jeff. Wheaton Christian 10. Timothy 4. First 2 points of the night for Gove. Ball over is to Patrick Ewing. Number 55. Into 40. Back court. Gold ball. Over and back. Here's Bonga back in for Morrow. 36 seconds to go in the first quarter. Beautiful shot by Chris. Just took what was there. Steve just wants Chris to settle down and not try to do more than what's there. Good move on Chris. Ball out to Dominguez. Chris partially blocked the shot. Over to Andy. Andy up with a jump shot, and he's down 14-4. 2 for Gove, 2 for Chris, 2 for Schmidt, 2 for... Good move on Chris. Ball out to Dominguez. Chris partially blocked the shot. Over to Andy. Andy up with a jump shot, and he's down 14-4. 2 for Gove, 2 for Chris, 2 for Schmidt, 2 for Faywell, and 8 for Schmidt. Total of 14 points. And at the end of the first quarter, it's the guest, Wheaton Christian Spartans 14, the home team 4.
It's a beautiful day.
What'd you say, Mike?
Going to town.
He's got 4 baskets.
Yeah, beautiful.
We're getting help from Gove, which is so important.
Oh, it really is. In the tournament.
No.
So say it again.
I was going to say, we need help from Gove, and he's been giving it tonight.
And for the tournament, it's very important that Jeff get the open shots, take them, and hit 40, 50%. And he can do it because he's a good athlete. And it's also important that he not turn the ball over. He's got to be thinking out there. The shot of the Wheaton Christian huddle. Morrow is played briefly. The starting five will be starting the second quarter. Also there is Brian Johnson, Dan Johnson, not related, the Johnson brothers, but unrelated. Scott Bruce. Who else is over there on the... Jason Morrow, Roger Poling, and Schulenberg, Kevin Schulenberg. If this game keeps going this way, they may see some playing time tonight. Okay, possession to Timothy. Gove. Off. Good defense by Mike. Off Patrick Ewing, number 55's hands. Gove inbounds to Dominguez. 6-minute quarters. 15 seconds gone in the second period. Into Gove. Over to Mike. Back out to Gove. Over to Dominguez. Nope. Into Chris. Chris fires it into Mike, but it's forced a little bit. Intercepted. A turnover. Good idea, but nothing there. Good hands by Gove. Into Dominguez. Dominguez is pushed with an elbow. Could have been a foul on Dominguez or on 53. Call neither way. We're in a zone, a 2-1-2. Shot from out. If they're going to shoot from out, we're going to beat them. Defensive rebound to Chris. Good move by Gove. Gove brings it back out to Andy. Andy puts it up. Long. Off Faywell's hands, but knocked out by 53 with the knee pad. Number 45 checks into the lineup for Timothy. Andy's free. No pass. A better pass to Faywell. Got a beautiful shot. A little hard. Beautiful block by Chris, and Chris also gets the rebound and the foul. Fabulous play. No call? Yeah, we got the call.
It's no 1-1 though.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Chris would like to go to the line and shoot a couple.
Father.
What, did he call a foul? Okay.
Chris was fouled, and we got the ball because it's not a shooting foul. Ball to Chris. He's got an easy one. It's golden. Second basket for Chris. Both times on the drive. He knows he can do it, and he takes it to the hoop. Block for Andy. Off to Gove. Gove has to hold it up. It's a 1-on-3. Over to Andy. Andy brings it down. Oh, back out to Gove. Nice pass to Andy, a high one. A little long on the shot. Back to Andy. He's got it. 10 points for Schmidt. 10 for Schmidt, 4 for Bonga, 2 for Faywell, 2 for Gove. We need Dominguez to get a basket, so all 5 are in the scoring column. Danny has taken only 1 shot, I believe. Kurt Bilston and David Fisher on the far side next to the scoring table, keeping the stats. Timothy with the ball, 4 minutes to go in the second quarter. Good defense by Gove. 45 takes it out toward the timeline. 40, Chris gives up the baseline. The man puts the shot up. Nice jump shot. 2 points for Timothy. We've got Mary Jane Thorne up here doing her gluing of the attendance records, and Mrs. Galbranson planning her next practice. That's it. Good pass, Jeff. Cross court, but he made it good. Into Andy. He's got 2 on it. Back to Mike. Mike goes up. He's got it. 2 points for Mike. Beautiful soft shot. Klum and Burgess are all smiles on the sideline. And the score is 20-6. 4 points for Faywell. Chris gives up the baseline again. shot goes up over him. Rebound to Schmidt. Bad pass, intercepted. He uses his body. Gove with the rebound. Good hard rebound. Dominguez brings it over the timeline. Getting ready to quarterback this team into Chris. Chris puts it up, and he's good. Down. 2 shots in a row for Chris, 6 points. Four, Steve says from the sideline. Steve wants to just do a little work here, get ready for the tournament. 40 out there. Chris giving him a little room so he can't drive so easily. Good defense by Chris to deny the pass. Andy with his hands over his head. Go with his hands up. Timothy is not even able to look at the basket to go to the hoop, and the score shows it. It's 22-6. I just want to stretch, that's all. I want to stand up. Timothy works the ball, doesn't even look to the basket. 40 though does, and he puts it down. 22-8 in favor of the Spartans. Dominguez brings it down. The ball comes in the corner to Chris. Chris to Andy, a nice pass. Andy puts it in, shoved in from behind, no call. What do you think about that?
We got 2 points, no comment.
Gary says he'll be happy with 2 points. So with 1:47, Timothy with a timeout. The score is a triple. The Spartans 24, Timothy 8. Here we have the Wheaton Christian huddle with Coach Klum there. Jason Morrow to his right. Danny Johnson in there. Poling in there. Kevin Schulenberg there. How you doing, sports fans? Everybody ready to go down to New Orleans for the Super Bowl? Johnson in there. Poling in there. Kevin Schulenberg there. How you doing, sports fans? Everybody ready to go down to New Orleans for the Super Bowl? No changes in the Wheaton lineup, but it looks like we've got some activity on the Wheaton Christian bench. Timothy works the ball. One guy takes a look at the basket, throws it up, but it misses by about 5.5 feet. Okay, we got a total substitution here for the gold team. A little rest for our starting 5. Jonathan Thorne, number 12, to inbound the ball. Scott Bruce, 22, receives it. Brian Johnson on the floor. Jason Morrow and Kevin Schulenberg over to Scott Bruce. The pass goes awry. 45 brings the ball down. Swings it from one side to the other into 41. He puts it up. Brian Johnson with a block over the back and the rebound by Jason Morrow. Brian throws him the ball, almost hits Jason in the head. It's retrieved by Jonathan Thorne into Jason Morrow, but we've got a 3-second call apparently on Schulenberg.
He loves to camp in the lane.
That's right.
It's like, camp all the time.
He had his permit, and he was setting up his pup tent when he got nailed by the referee. Brian Johnson with the tough defense again. Offensive board to Timothy. defensive board to Kevin Schulenberg as he tears one down. And Jonathan Thorne brings the ball over the half-court line into Kevin. Gets it back out of danger to Thorne. 28 seconds in the quarter. The ball gets moved to the corner to Morrow. Back over to Jonathan. Scott Bruce clears the lane. Jonathan Thorne with the shot. A good shot. Just off the front of the rim. 13, 12 seconds, 11, 10, 9. They're running out the clock. And the jump shot is up, and it's down with 4 seconds, 24-10. We don't even have to take it in bounds, and at the halftime, it's Wheaton Christian 24, Elmhurst. At the start of the third quarter, it's the Spartans 24, Elmhurst Timothy Christian 10. Tinku has all 10 points for Timothy. He's number 40. Andy, number 35, has 14 for the Spartans. Chris Bonga, 6. Mike Faywell, 2. Jeff Gove, 2. Danny Dominguez being the 5th starter. Playing a terrific floor game. And it'll be Wheaton Christian's ball inbounds with a lead that's 2.5 times the Timothy team, but Timothy is missing 2 of their bigger starters today, and their best player, Smith, is not here. Gove inbounds the ball to Dominguez. Brings the ball to Chris. So Chris puts it off his foot. It was off Chris's foot, but there must have been a foul called on Timothy because we get the ball back. Chris picks for Andy. Chris comes around. He's open. The ball comes into Andy. Go back on the top of the key. Dominguez bringing it back up. Chris comes over through the lane. Ball comes to Chris in the corner. A good pass to Mike. Mike puts it up. He's got it. Mike with his... Hey, is that Mike's third basket?
Only second, I think.
Second basket? Didn't he make a soft jump shot, too?
He had a long jump shot.
Yeah.
Posting shot.
Did he make a close one, too? Tinku puts one up, his 12th. They've only got him for 2 points in the first half. So that would be 4, but if he made 2 baskets in the first half, it would be 6. Timothy having a little trouble believing that it's their ball out of bounds. Nobody coming inside with Andy in the middle. Go with the ball. Fast break is gone. The ball back to Danny, who sets it up. It's easy to get the ball into the middle to Andy today. Chris goes up, it's short. Back to Danny, who gets a rebound. Danny puts it up, it's blocked. Nice block. Chris with a slap. 31 comes in, he's got his first basket. Misher with a bucket. Chris gets the inbound pass. Brings it up to Andy, and Andy takes it to the hoop. He's got 2 points, 16 for Andy. Nice pass from Chris. They really work it well together, don't they?
They sure do.
Chris with a hand in there. The ball is short, and it's gold ball, 4:32. I don't know if he had a hand on it when it left his hands. And it comes into Chris. Chris brings it down to Andy again, and Andy's got nobody on him. He feeds it this time to Mike. A little bit long. And Andy over the back with a Kareem Jabbar shot. Chris is fouled, and I thought he was fouled, but the ref says no, it was clean. And Andy with a long shot, he's got 2, 18 points.
They can't give him that shot open. They got to come out and guard him.
And here comes a timeout here. 30-14. It's a double right now with 4 minutes to go. In the second half, we've got 2 baskets by Schmidt and a basket by Faywell. Spirit, we got it. Spirit, we got it. Power.
1. I should have been filming that.
The Wheaton Christian cheerleaders doing their usual exceptional job. It looks like the 7th grade team is left. Is that correct? 7th grade team, have they gone home?
Apparently they have, or most of them anyway, yeah.
They probably have a curfew tonight. 31, Mincher, who just broke into the scoring column, brings the ball down. Into number 40, the best player. We've got just a little bit of a bump by Chris. That's calling a pretty tight foul. Chris has his hands full with Tinku. He is the one player that's here today for Timothy. Ball comes into Ewing. Back to Tincture. Chris with a hand up. It's long. Off Mike. Red ball. Chris with hands in the face. Into 32. Out to 31. Mincher. Chris thought we were going to have a fast break, but we didn't get it. Tinku drives the baseline. Nowhere to go. Gove with good defense. He drives again. Puts the ball up. Forces it in. 14 points for Tinku. Intercepted by 32. Gove, Chris all over it. Good defense. Very, very good, aggressive, tenacious defense by the Spartans. He puts it up, it's strong. He gets his own rebound. Good block by Andy, out of bounds. Red ball. 3.5 minutes to go, 30-16. Ought to see some court time for our second string today. Leach is injured, sore hand. He and Irving Fryer are on the disabled list. Also, although I don't know how Leach has happened, Irving Fryer got stabbed by his wife. Also, we've got a couple of players ineligible, and one, Danny Cook, who's sick. Double dribble. Timeout, Wheaton Christian. Double dribble on Chris. 30-16. Here are the Wheaton Christian Spartan cheerleaders. And look at here. They see that they're on camera. Let's see if we can get them to wave over here. We can't.
Come on, do some cheering.
We want to cheer.
We want to cheer.
Now's the time.
Okay, the fans are applauding the Spartan cheerleaders to give them a cheer. Here we go. Okay, with 3 minutes and 4 seconds to go in the third period. Our starting five still in, 30-16. This game is not that far out of range for Timothy. If this kid could hit a few, that's all they'd need. And Andy's got another block. Tinku puts it up, throws up a brick. We had hands on it. Ball comes to Chris. He gets it to Dominguez, who takes care of the ball. Brings it over the timeline. The ball comes back to Gove, to Chris in the corner. Chris drives, and Chris draws a foul as Tinku did not have position. Foul number 40. Good strong move to the basket, drew the foul. Chris picks for Andy. The ball comes into Andy. It's blocked. Tinku with his other foul. 2 fouls inside of just a couple of minutes. This time he got a hand in the eye, and he had to put his contact back in the corner. Gove brings it to Dominguez. Dominguez sets it up. Ball to Chris in the corner. Into Andy as they're sagging on him now with the zone. Danny's got a shot. And it's good. Oh, it was off the back on the second bounce. And Andy gets the rebound and the basket for a total now of 20 points. Pass goes high over Chris. Good defense. He was careful not to foul him, but he still had a hand up there. Gove brings it down. We got a little pressure. Nothing serious, and looks like Brian is coming in. Chris floating over. The pass comes to him just at the right time. He comes all the way in. He's got an easy basket. Very nice shot. 8 points for Chris. 28 points for Bonga and Schmidt. Chris with the interception. Takes it through the middle and puts it in, and he's got it. That's 10. He took it to the middle, which is exactly what Coach Klum has worked on in practice. Had one guy at each wing. 45 handling the ball. This looks like their, don't you think this is their stall offense? 36-18, it's a double. Number 40, Tinku to inbound the ball. Chris with a hand on it, out of bounds, red.
Nice going, Chris.
Good play.
Good play, D.
We've had some good aggressive play by the Spartans. 1 minute and 26 to go. Steve is probably getting ready to substitute and give our other guys some much needed playing time. Ball comes in, Gove there, Chris there. Chris Dominguez gets the ball, and he takes care of it and says, okay, let's bring it down and set up something here. And the red player got a hand in there, out of bounds, Gold. The ball goes into Chris. The pass was forced. It comes to Andy. Beautiful pass. Andy couldn't find the handle. Ball out of bounds. Good rebound by Andy. Nah, he's just a little tired. It's that time. They're going to start substituting now. Good defense by Chris as he did not give Tinku the baseline. 32, however, puts it in. His first basket of the night. Dominguez with the ball. Johnson ready to report in. Number 14, Dan Johnson. Good crossover dribble by Gove. Over to Faywell. Chris standing. Two guys in one area. Gove puts it up. Chris with a little hand on it. Out to Dominguez. Dominguez back out to Gove. Chris is wide open underneath. There it is. Chris puts it up. It's long. Dominguez up for the rebound, but 40's right over him, and Gove steals it. And here comes Andy for a cripple. Andy's got 22, folks. 8 points in the third period for Andy Schmidt. Tinku with a shot. Chris forced it, and it's short. And the third quarter ends with the score 38-20. Here comes the Spartan cheerleaders with the big cheer. Who are some of these girls, Andy?
I don't know. Good question.
Why don't you announce the cheer? Miss Albertson, announce the cheer.
It's called Pressure. It's very impressive.
The Spartans put the pressure right on you. How long does it take those girls to learn that cheer?
I was amazed that they got it now because the practice wasn't like that a couple days ago.
It sure looked very well done.
Well, when the first two games, we were following.
Okay, we've got Dan Johnson in for Jeff Gove. Dominguez pressuring the ball. Chris Tinku double dribble, no call. Maybe I'm wrong on interpreting that, but it looked like the second dribble, but somebody might have kicked it out of his hand. Dominguez brings it down. Poling reporting to the scorer's table. Johnson feeds it into Faywell. The pass is short. Tinku bringing it down with a nice feed off. Number 21 with the shot off. Who made the shot?
I don't know.
Number 40, Tinku. Andy bringing it down. Andy taking it all the way. Puts it up. It's too strong. Faywell with the shot. Mike has it. That's at least his 6th point of the night. And his 2nd basket of the 2nd quarter. Dominguez flies in there. Somehow avoided the collision. Got a touch on the ball. And Poling reports in for Dominguez, who's played a fine floor game. Brian Johnson reports in for Mike Faywell at one of the forwards. Tinku moves. Andy picks up Chris. Andy with the block and the interception. Poling, number 24, passes to Chris on the wing. Chris drives, puts it up, double pump. It's a little long. Tinku comes off with the ball. He dribbles with both hands. Another nice pass across the court. 2 points for Christian, 40-24. Intercepted on the inbounds pass, and all of a sudden, the Spartans have gone to pieces. Timeout for Klum. With Gove.
I believe that had our offensive players been awake down here, they could have gotten, especially Brian Johnson, did not make a lot of effort to get that pass. He should have been.
Steve says, what in the heck is going on? We have Gove on the bench. We have Dominguez on the bench. It shows. Faywell is also on the bench. And in fairness to the guys that have come in, they haven't worked a lot together. Here we have the Timothy Christian cheerleaders. A smaller squad than ours, 5 kids. Five to 6 Chicago time. We would just like to make the announcement that the network news will be delayed until after the game. Be sure to stay tuned at 3 o'clock on Sunday for the pregame of the Super Bowl.
We'll be going down to our man in New Orleans right after this pickup here to catch the latest from the Super Bowl.
You just heard from the poor man's John Madden, Gary Schmidt. Okay, Bonga, Schmidt, Brian Johnson, Dan Johnson, and Roger Poling. A little bit of a zone. Tinku puts it up. Chris rebounds. Another rebound for Chris. He's had a nice game. And chipped in with 10 points here. And Poling brings it down. He's got Chris coming across the lane. Chris looks for Andy. He's covered. Back over to Brian. Back over to Dan, to Brian. Oh, Chris puts it up long. Andy with the rebound, and Andy's got another one. Unbelievable shot. 22 points for Andy. 24 points for Andy. 10 in the 2nd quarter. Traveling. A little slow on the call, but he finally got it. Here comes Jason Morrow. Checking in for Chris with 3:57, it looks like, left in the game. 42-26, a 16-point lead. Roger Poling brings it up, comes into Andy. Andy with a hook. A little sky hook action here, folks. Lou Alcindor, otherwise known as Kareem Abdul Schmidt. Their best player, Smith, has not played today because of sickness. He's a big kid. Tinku has more than made up for it. Andy drags one off the boards. Dan Johnson. And then Poling bring it down. Jason Morrow. Back out to Poling. Dan Johnson. Morrow again. Nice shot. Nice soft shot. Andy is hacked, and Andy is hacked on the rebound. He says, "What do you want, ref?" to the ref. And Andy's up in the air and down on top of him. Foul on 35.
I love it. Andy's been getting hacked so much, and now finally the ref calls a little fall over the back foul.
Andy said to the ref, "What does it take for a foul?" And the ref just showed him, if you jump on top of the kid's shoulders, he'll call a foul. Anything less than that, they kind of let go. Tinku gets Morrow out of position. He puts it up strong. Tinku is a basketball player. He's very close to 20 points tonight. Almost single-handedly brought this weak red team back. 14 drives in. Roger Poling takes the ball in his hands. Hey, Mike. What do you think of that last play?
I didn't see it.
Oh, you missed complimentary stuff.
Roger Poling.
Clean handoff to me.
Sure did, didn't it? Looked like it looked to me like a draw play. How about you?
I think so.
Okay. Dominguez is checked in now for Poling. Steve wants somebody out there to take care of the ball. Jason Morrow with a little bump and run coverage there. Tinku puts it up. He's not afraid to shoot the ball. They're all over Andy, and Andy says, how about it? But the ref says, not today. Ball goes into the corner, but Jason doesn't have the handle, and it's out of bounds off the mat. 2:33 to go. It's a 13-point game. It's not that big a blowout, folks. 42-29. 2 or 3 baskets by Tinku, and we got a ball game on our hands. Dan Johnson says, here's the ball. Dominguez brings it down. Tinku comes over to double team Dominguez, and he's got a double team, but the ref calls a foul on Dominguez's wrist. Maybe we should have, Danny, should we have an x-ray? Ewing back in. Tinku and Andy with a little pushing underneath there. And the ref.
40 ref, watch him.
Calling the same both ways, ref. Over to Brian Johnson. Brian drives, puts it up. Andy in there. Hacked again, the ball off the iron. Tinku brings it down, and he comes to play. He puts it up over Andy, and the ball is tipped by Andy, and the refs say it's out of bounds to the red team. We've got garbage time here as the refs have let the game get out of control. Tinku inbounds to Ewing. Over to 21, back to Tinku. Brian with a block. Good block, Brian. Good block, Andy. 2 blocks.
I don't mind a little push and shoving.
You want to speak into the mic, please?
Take it easy on my ears. You know, the mic is good. You don't have to be so loud.
I want the ref to hear me, not the home crowd audience. Jason was up a little bit too soon. Ball off the rim. Good rebound by Jason Morrow. Over to Dan Johnson. He looks for Dominguez. Minute and a half. 42-29. Into Andy. He's got another one. 26 points for Schmidt. Here comes Schulenberg and Scott Bruce and Jonathan Thorne. Blocked by Andy. Stuff it down his throat. Timeout by Dominguez, which will allow Coach Klum to get these 3 players. Schmidt, Bruce, and Jonathan Thorne. Good game by Andy. Fine game by Andy as he set a new 1985-86 scoring mark for the Spartans at 26 points, which is the unofficial total. We'll have to check with managers Fisher and Bilston for the revised fix statistics following this awesome contest. I think it's fair to say at this point that with Wheaton Christian's play here today, they've taken the home court advantage away from Timothy. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I would think so, yes. On this AstroTurf floor. It's a winter-colored AstroTurf.
It's a tan-colored AstroTurf. It seems to have a pretty good high coefficient of friction. It's a lot better than our tile skating rink back at the horizon of Harrison Street. Poling puts it up off the rim. Brian puts it up in traffic. Brian comes out of there with his patented expression. Tinku puts it up. He forces a shot. It's short. Bruce rebounds. Scott Bruce has really stretched out his size in the last year or so. Jonathan Thorne brings it down. Poling meets the pass, but it's through his hands. Tinku. Good pass from Tinku to 21. 2 points for Timothy, but it's a day late and $1 short. Ball into Scott Bruce. Brian travels, no call. Schulenberg puts it up off the glass. 14 comes in. He's fouled. No cheap 2-point layups. Make them earn it if they want a layup. What do you think, Mike?
You could hear the thunder of hoofs on that one when he went down.
Ref's trying to get home from supper.
That's right. 6:03. As we mentioned, the net. Stay tuned for the network news immediately following the telecast of the game. Tinku, strong move. Schulenberg moves into him and he draws the foul, which is exactly what he wanted. Fouling Schulenberg. 14 seconds in the game, 44-32. The game is safely tucked away, and this young man has a 1-on-1 situation. He's got the first one. I'd say here's a real high school ball player coming up here. Good talent.
What happened, Mike?
Who was in early?
It was, what's his face? Number 22 over there. 22.
Bruce. Scott Bruce was in the line early. Off to Schulenberg. He finds the handle after a dribble. He puts the ball out to Thorne with 9 seconds. Tinku on him. Tinku's got a block on the ball. It's a jump ball. The possession goes over to the Spartans. It's gold ball with 4 seconds. Timothy hasn't given up. You really have to admire a team that's down. Bad pass in. Basket by Tinku. The final score, the Spartans 44, Wheaton Christian 35. Coach Ken Huizinga gets a condolences from Coach Plum. That's right. His first 5 or 6 players played the whole game, but they did play without 2 of their biggest starters and 2 of their better players. Excellent performance by the Spartans. Schmidt unofficially with 26, Faywell with 6, Bonga with 10, Gove with 2.
Don't you hate the people?
Okay, we're here at courtside for the 5th quarter with David Fisher and Kurt Bilston. Who was high scorer for this game for the Spartans?
It was Andy Schmidt who had 26 points.
Okay, who was second high?
Chris Bonga with 10, then Mike Faywell with 6, and Jeff Gove with 2.
Jeff Gove with 2. Those 4 people figured in the scoring, okay? Who was high for their team? How many Tinku have? 20? 11 points.
23.
23 points for Tinku. Fine performance. And how many shots did Schmidt have? Do you have any idea?
Around 30.
Around 30 shots?
Yeah.
Oh, so he was about 13 for 30, but we don't know exactly how many. How many shots did Chris have?
Close to 15.
Close to 15, so he was about 5 for 15. How about Faywell? Do you have, who led us in rebounding? Do you have that?
Chris and Andy are about tied.
Okay, with what, about 10 each?
Yeah.
10 or 11 rebounds each for Chris and Andy. How many did Mike Faywell have?
About 5.
5 rebounds for Faywell. And how about Jeff?
Gove?
He was helping fix the scoring.
Where is he? About 3.
3. And how about Dominguez? I saw him with a long rebound. How come you don't have him down there?
Because I guess that was before I was taking this.
Oh.
Yeah.
These are the fixed stats.
Yeah,
Okay.
fixed.
Official
They're being
rebound.
fixed right now.
What is the difference between the official stats and the fixed stats and the revised fixed stats, David?
Official revised fixed stats.
Okay.
Official rebound.
Can you explain that to us?
The regular stats are correct, and they don't need to be fixed.
Yeah.
And then there are the fixed stats, and they're wrong, so they need to be fixed up. Wrong. Then the revised fixed stats are really, really wrong, so they have to be fixed and then revised.
Yeah.
How many block shots for Andy today?
Around 7.
7. And who led us in assists?
I guess Dan Dominguez.
With how many?
About 3.
And who else figured in assists?
Well, Gove got 2, and Chris Bonga got 2 recorded.
Okay, when's our next game?
I don't know.
Okay, that's all. That's all from courtside. Here we have, hey, we have an interview with the player of the game. Come on up here.
Get a watch or something out of it. You should get something.
Here's the player of the game. How does it feel to be named the player of the game? There's a $1,000 scholarship will be donated in your name to DeVry Technical Institute.
Oh, great.
Nice game. Thanks. 26 points, I think. Tremendous game. And about 8 block shots and a whole bunch of rebounds.
Yeah.
Chris, come on down here. Come here. Chris and Andy, get down here. You get down here.
Bad attitude of the game.
Danny, get down here. Hey. Don't say anything about his attitude. Get down here, you two. Good game. Good floor game, Danny. The next telecast for the Wheaton Christian Spartans will be next Monday as we play at St. Mike's, an away game from beautiful downtown Wheaton. In beautiful downtown Wheaton, where we have an 8th grade game on the 27th of January 1986 between the St. Michael's Lancers and the Wheaton Christian Spartans. St. Michael's with blue and gold, Wheaton Christian with gold and numbers of blue. Very historic times for Chicago. Very, very historic times for Chicago as the Bears yesterday stomped on the Patriots in the Super Bowl 46-10 with half the points being scored by the defense. And today was the day of the scheduled victory parade in downtown Chicago. But there were so many people in the city that the parade was scuttled as the team buses took over 1 hour to get from the expressway to Jackson and LaSalle. Andy Schmidt jumping center against number 20. Andy controls it over to Faywell, over to Chris. Chris passes it. It's bounced off number 20, Galini, a big guy. And it looks like Galini is a guy about Andy's size. And the pass comes in from Gove, almost thrown away, but saved by Danny Dominguez. Danny Dominguez looks like one of those little grass men where grass grew out of their hair. Chris with a cross-court pass. Mike doesn't find the handle, and we turn the ball over. 5 minutes and 43 seconds to go in this scoreless first period. Chris helps Dominguez with the defense. And it looks like, I think the foul is 32. It's on Chris.
Well, we call it 3-3.
Foul on 3-3. Foul on either Jeff Gove or Danny Dominguez. Who do you think it was on?
I think it was on Chris. It looked like it was.
Oh, okay.
It looked like they called it on Chris. Boy, I thought he hit all ball. First shot is off the back of the rim. No good. With 30 seconds gone in the first quarter, there's no score. Number 10, Prophet, puts it in. And the Lancers with the early lead. Gove to Dominguez. Danny brings the ball across the sideline. In the corner to Chris, who drives. The pass, there's a foul on number 20. Chris will be shooting 2. Good way to take the ball to the hoop. I'm not sure he was really shooting. He might have been passing it off. But he was up in the air in a jump shot position. And we shoot 2. What do you think, Art?
Let me think of something clever to say.
I think the auction was a lot of fun, is what I think.
What did you bid on, Artie?
I bid on the condominium. I bid on most everything, but when most of it got out of hand for me, so I just laid low.
First shot was no good. Second shot is also long. Andy with the rebound, but Ginelli controls. Pretty good sized kid. Andy's not used to playing against somebody his own ability and size.
I got 48 egg rolls. Did you hear that, Gary?
For how much?
$21.
Number 5 shoots the ball over Gove. Chris on the floor with Janelli, and it looks like a jump ball with the arrow. The blue team inbounds the ball. Comes into Janelli. Andy up in the air, and he puts it in. Chris inbounds to Dominguez, and the score is 3 for the home team, 0 for the Spartans. Dominguez to Gove, to Faywell, to Chris on a bounce pass. Chris drives, goes up, shoots it, and it's in. Nice shot, bringing Janelli out on him.
Who made it? Who made the shot?
Chris made it. First shot from the floor. 3-2. Good defense by Dominguez. Gove comes out. Jeff has his hand on the ball, rips it away. Jeff causes a turnover. Nice play by Gove. Dominguez brings us down. Into Andy, out to Chris. Chris puts it on the floor. A mistake to put it on the floor. Puts it up, and the shot is off. He's got to take that jump shot to force him to come out on him to have a chance to drive. Foul on Andy?
Yeah.
No, that foul was on Andy Schmidt on the rebound. 4 minutes to go in the first period. Into Janelli. He can't shoot. He brings it back out. Off blue. Looks like a little foul on Gove reaching in. Who is Danny Dominguez? 33. Foul on Jeff Gove. Well, there was a foul called before the ball went off the blue. It was off the blue. But Jeff fouled him there. Number 10, Prophet.
They're really calling a foul, aren't they?
A little tight. Good defense by Dominguez. Over guarding to the right. Into Janelli. He turns the other way. He has to dish it back out to avoid the blocked shot. Comes over to number 14, whose name is Manning. Chris on the floor. Faywell a little bit out of position. Andy with the rebound, and Manning with the foul. Nice call by the ref.
The tall fellow.
Say it again.
The tall fellow.
Dominguez brings the ball down. Danny setting up to run the offense. Chris pops out. Chris has a chance to drive. He gets stuffed. Foul is on number... Foul again on Manning is his second foul within 30 seconds. And he goes over for a word from his coach. Chris will shoot 2 again.
Who's our cheerleaders today?
Oh, a little bit long. He's a little bit tight. He'll be all right.
No comment.
You can comment when my kid misses if you want. That doesn't bother either him or me.
Listen, I watched the high school shoot free throws the other day, and the varsity missed one after the other. I mean, I went to be in 8th grade to miss them.
Chris with the second toss. It was right there, but it popped out, and Wheaton Christian gets the ball back. 0 for 4 from the line. I'll tell you what, this Friday night, you want to see Nazareth Academy play, and they got a kid by the name of Swade, who is phenomenal. Into Chris. Chris has the easy shot, and he cans it. 2 for 2 from the floor on shots he's gotten off, and it's 4 now for the Spartans. We just did score 2 points. Ball comes into number 13, over to number 5, Bruska. Swings at the 10, back to Bruska. You see number 5's name, honey? Push on Chris. I didn't see the foul. He's got 2. Oh, okay. Andy says it's 1 foul. Into a good interception by Mike Faywell, but he throws the ball away into Janelli, and Andy up over the top, and I think Andy gets the foul. And I think the ref was screened out by number 32, Bonga, but he made the call anyway. Very hard for the ref in that position to determine whether or not he caught him with the body, but it was a clean block. Call it a tight. We've got more reserves than they do. Janelli misses the first free throw, and the score remains the Spartans 4 and the Lancers 3, shooting his second of 2. The ball is up, and it is in. Nice soft touch on the free throw. No press. Cook in for Gove. Cook inbounds the ball to Dominguez. Danny Cook is number 4. Dominguez number 5. Ball comes to Bonga, 32. Over to Andy, who puts it up, and he's got it. He's golden, and it's 6-4, and every basket that the Spartans make, the net holds up there. I think we could press these guards and cause some turnovers, don't you, Andy?
Yeah, Gary, yes, I think we could.
Okay, Gary. Gary Bender here on WGS. Number 5's name is Brusca. Chris on defense, no foul, good play. Out to Manning, over to 13, over to Brusca. Looks for Janelli, he's two-timed by Faywell and Schmidt. In and intercepted by Chris. Chris takes it, he's got it all the way. He puts it up, and it's good. A very, very fine shot. Even got a clap or two from Coach Klum on that one. And
They got at least 4 claps from me.
it's Wheaton Christian 8. The Lancers 4. He drives the lane. Andy's got it. Number 13, Lucas, turns the ball over. Dominguez brings it down. Pops it back to Cook, who brings it over to Faywell. Chris coming over, doesn't look at him. Back over to Dominguez. Oh, ref called traveling, and I'm not sure. We've got some expert commentaries. What'd you say?
He did travel, Coach. He did travel.
Well, there's the final word. He did travel. The referee agreed with you, so I missed him. Cindy's mom and dad. Where were you last week for the game?
Well, your vision's getting a little bad, Coach, and it'll get.
Where were you last week for the game?
Oh, I was on the Caribbean cruise, shooting baskets.
That sounds like fun. Number 12, he traveled. That's right. Number 12 is Davis, and he took a couple of steps before putting the ball on the floor. Manning is out, and Davis is playing for Manning. Dominguez brings the ball down. Chris feeds it into Andy. Andy puts it up. It's a little bit long. He had a hand on the ball. Yeah, it looked like it. Faywell in the rebound, but number 10, Prophet, off his position. Almost seems like these refs are Notre Dame graduates. What do you think? Huh, Mike? Think these refs are Notre Dame graduates? Chris in the corner. He was fouled. He got a bump, but no call. The ball goes over to Faywell. It's tossed away. Chris should have had a call on that one. 5 seconds. Number 10, Brusca, brings the ball down. He travels. And at the end of the first period, to the tune of I'm Walking, it's the Spartans 8 and the Lancers of St. Michael's in Wheaton 4. For the scoring, number 32, Chris Bonga, has 6 points. Number 35, Schmidt, has a basket. He's got a very big guy on him today. For a total of 8 points. I don't remember, do we have any of our other 3 players have a shot? Gove hasn't had a shot.
No.
Dominguez hasn't had a shot. Faywell hasn't taken one, and Cook
Chris has got 3 and Andy's got 1.
When Andy was making that shot, he was fouled. They touched him.
And Chris was fouled on the bump around here on the last play.
They're calling so harsh.
But
the other way.
they're both Notre Dame graduates.
You guys are for the home team. You guys are biased.
They are.
We're for the visiting team.
Oh,
Yeah. The refs are for the home team. The refs went to Notre Dame. We went to Wheaton. Okay, it's Wheaton Christian's ball. We taped the Super Bowl yesterday. Did you do that too? Chris has number 17, number 12 rather, giving him room and not letting him drive. Ball comes into Chris. He looks for Faywell, who doesn't find the handle. Pass was a little hard to handle. And it's St. Mary's ball. Mike comes in there and he's got a foul. Is that Mike's second, Mike? First foul? The Lancers are in the bonus.
Did you see what he did?
Mike pushed. He bumped him.
He jumped or trying to tip that.
He bumped him. 8-5. The free throw is good. And Brusca has one more. Do you think this could be the son of the ear doctor, Dr. Brusca?
Pardon? That's what I thought it was, because that looks like...
Did you know him?
Chris is in there in good rebounding position. Who's the foul on, ref? What number?
No, no foul. It was in the lane.
Oh, they smashed him.
Sitting on the top, looking over this way.
It was a little rough. Shooter over the line was the official call. They ignored the foul. Chris pops out. The ball comes to him. Into Andy. Andy shoots. Nice shot. He's golden. I think Andy's 2 for 2 from the floor, not counting the one he was fouled on.
For 3, well, yeah.
Yeah, he's 2 for 2, not counting the one he missed.
He was fouled. Ball off Chris's foot. Good defense. Number 12 with a desperation pass. That's Davis, as in Angela Davis.
Or Jefferson Davis.
Jefferson Davis.
Betty Davis.
Or Royal Davis.
Andy brings the ball down. He's fouled. He's a little bit irritated, but the ref doesn't give him a call. Dominguez brings it down. Chris pops out. Ball comes to Chris. He's got 2 on him. He's got to dish it off. He goes through anyway. He's fouled all over the place.
Nice, Mike!
Mike picks him up and puts it in.
Tip-tapped on the arms there.
Chris goes to the ref like this. Now, come on, give me the foul. He was nailed by 2 guys. I couldn't believe Chris could get a shot off when he had 2 guys on him. 5 brings it into Janelli. Faywell over there. Andy over there. That'll make Janelli a little bit afraid to shoot. Come on, ref, get in the game. They're all over him. Faywell over to Faywell. Into Chris. Chris has got a couple of guys on him. Now, how can they call traveling on that when he hasn't moved his feet? He's I don't think, well, I don't know if it was a foul, but they called him for walking when he didn't move his pivot feet.
Chris's word against the refs.
Yeah, the refs are going to get the final word.
I believe with Chris.
Well, all I can say, I wouldn't mind. I'd like to help these guys. Dominguez. Andy is being fouled as Janelli tries to deny the ball. And number 2, oh my goodness gracious.
Oh, come on.
Oh, boo.
That was a bad
Oh, come on.
call. Bad call. Bad call.
Hey, let's see your card.
Go back to school.
He didn't mean it, ref.
Let's be nice. Come on, Art. We gotta be nice.
Our guy's black and blue. It's really It's really too bad they don't have 3 of them, because if there were 3 refs, when they come out, they could play 3 blind mice like they do at the stadium.
Oh, we got to be kind to the refs.
That's right.
I've discovered a way to praise the refs. What you do is, right about this time in the game, when the ref makes an obvious call, the guy falls down and travels, you scream, and the silence reigns, you scream, "Good call, ref," and then he looks up and smiles at you, and you say, "First one."
I think what you could do to show support for the refs is bring out a seeing eye dog for them.
What you need to do, have one of these cards. No. Have one of these cards printed that shows that you're an official with the high school association. Tell them, look,
We're sending this game to your commissioner. We said to one ref, this game is being taped, and we're sending it to the commissioner.
One of these eye charts.
Yeah, right.
Ref, can you read the E?
This game is being transmitted by satellite worldwide. They're watching in Peking, Taiwan,
And
down
Armed Forces Network.
in Australia. They're watching, in Singapore.
haircut across from a barber shop, see? And across the street was a store selling dry goods. And Turek tells the barber, he says, he says, I hate to tell you this, but I want to tip you off. We got FBI men over there watching you now, ringing everything up in the register. And she said, I went to the register and he was punching the keys. I bet he was punching for the next 2 weeks.
Okay, 3 minutes and 37 seconds.
The 30-second spot in this game is worth at least $500,000.
That's right. Do you hear that? Okay, we've got Scott Bruce at number 22. He's got his hands up. Gianelli with the ball. He puts it up. Nice soft shot. Puts it in. Gets a couple of high fives coming down the floor. Maybe that's his kid. Out to Chris. Back to Dominguez. Out to Cook. Over to Scott Bruce. Over to Chris. Into Scott Bruce. Scott Bruce puts it up. Andy, ooh.
Oh, ref.
Yeah. Probably a pretty decent call, Jerry. I'm glad to see our guy being aggressive, though. Look at Coach Klum. Get a shot of him on the sideline. Look at Coach Klum talking to Andy there. Oh, he's got 3 already? Oh, gosh. He's got 3 fouls. And Coach Klum is just smiling. He's just kind of enjoying this refereeing. Coach Klum. Good rebound by Mike. Now that's what we need, is when Andy's out, for somebody to pick him up. Danny goes in and he's got a shot and he's golden. Beautiful shot, and Chris is laying on the floor. Chris was nailed and there's no call. Looks like this Gianelli is really a good sport, because there were a couple of bodies laying on the floor there. They love the competition. I was watching Danny. I didn't see the collision. Beautiful shot by Dominguez. He traveled. Number 10 into Gianelli, number 20, who's probably their only player. Out to number 10, over to Brusca. Here goes Chris on a breakaway. This is the ball. Dominguez picks him up. Put it up, Danny. Back out to Cook. Disciplined team, I'll tell you. Into Faywell. Faywell's hack. Come on!
But they called it on the wrong guy. They called it number 10. So they didn't call it on 20.
The foul was called on number 10 instead of Gianelli. Not a shooting foul for us yet. The Spartans are not in the bonus because of the disparity on the number of fouls called. Ball comes into Faywell. Out to Cook. Back to Dominguez. Dominguez brings it to the other side. Over to Bruce, into Chris. Oops, Chris loses it. Chris almost fouled. Could have been called for it, trying to slap it out of there. Number 3 is in the game. McConaughey. Chris intercepts. Has it kicked away by one of their players, and Dominguez with his speed puts it up. No foul. Bruce with the shot, and Scott Bruce puts it in. 2 points for Scott Bruce. Nice rebound. And that play, Dominguez picked up Chris, and Bruce picked up Dominguez. And here comes Chris. Chris anticipating the steal. The Lancer player, though, traveled before getting the pass off. Looks like we got a couple of scouts up here. Press. Come on, Bruce. Ball comes into Scott Bruce, who gets it over. Faywell with a pass to Chris. Chris puts it up. No foul again. Chris is really a little upset. At least he's not talking to the ref. Plum says, get down there and shut up. Here comes Kevin Schulenberg. Here comes Schulenberg in the game, fans. Number 3, McConaughey. Over to number 10, into Ginelli. Scott Bruce bothers him. Ginelli goes up with it. Faywell there. He gets his own rebound. Foul by Chris. Good call. If you're going to foul him good, and he did.
That was a bad call.
Dale, did you see it?
Yeah, it was a good call, and Chris said something to the ref, and the ref told him to shut up or he's got a technical. You're right. I think Chris ought to come out for the last 46 seconds.
Off the record.
On the record. Rebound by Chris. Ginelli misses the free throw. Good play by Chris on the rebound. He brings the ball down over to Dominguez. Danny Cook looks like he's lost out there. He doesn't know what to do. It's like having a non-player on offense. Chris with a pass over to Schulenberg, doesn't find the handle. Got another father out of control here. Like we can relate to that, right? Those fathers out of control. 13 is one of their second-string players. McConaughey, number 3, also a second-string player, into Manning, who sat out with foul trouble. Ginelli rips it off. He rips it off again. Ball goes off, doesn't drop, and at the halftime, the score is 16. So we're starting the third quarter, and Dr. Roth just told me that Bruce did something very commendable today. He came in and said, Dr. Roth, there's somebody out on the playground that's got his tongue stuck on the piece of playground equipment. It froze to the monkey bars or whatever. And so they had to go out and get the kid untapped. Chris drives, dishes the ball out, nobody to dish it to, forced it a little bit too much. Ginelli scored the first point, and it's 16-11. Ginelli now has 9 for the game. Gove with good defense, hands up. Ball comes to number 13, back over to 10, whose name is Prophet. Prophet dishes it out to number 3, whose name is McConaughey. They're trying to get the ball into Ginelli, but not having any success, and they get a travel. Scoring in the first half is 7 points for Ginelli, 1 for Prophet, 1 for Brusca for St. Mike's, 6 for Bonga, 4 for Schmidt, 2 each for Scott Bruce, Danny Dominguez, and Mike Faywell. Gold takes it to the lane, picks up a 2-shot foul, and you got to have Jeff doing that for this team to gel. Nice play by Jeff Gold.
Our only offense in the first half is Chris's moves down the baseline, either shooting it or giving it off to Andy or bringing it back out. We've got to have some other force on offense.
We've got 3 players with 3 fouls, Bonga, Gove, and Schmidt. And let's hope that Steve told them they've got to be a little more careful than that. And Gove gets his first point of the game. And Wheaton's first point of the second half. And Jeff gets a chance now to convert the second one. 3 bounces on the floor, knees bent, the ball is right there. He has got a nice touch. Nice touch. Prophet. We've got Ginelli looking for the ball, and Andy doing his best not to foul, but yet deny the pass. And the ball is thrown away. It's a turnover for St. Mike's. The score is 18-11 with 4:45 to go in the third quarter. Dominguez brings it down. Gove at the point. Chris pops out. The ball into Andy. It's knocked away by Ginelli. A good play. Andy to inbound the ball. Ginelli and Bonga. The ball comes to Dominguez. Over to Gove, and number 10, Prophet, with the foul. Kind of a dumb foul. Maybe we're going to get a little fairer shake on the fouls this half. It was 10 fouls against Wheaton Christian to 4 for St. Mike's. Chris with a good pivot. He gets it into Mike. Mike puts it up, and he's got 2 coming. Nice feed in from Chris. Nice shot by Mike. Now, if we can make 1 out of 2, we'll be in great shape.
Who? High School Association.
Really?
What's his name?
I don't know.
The head of it.
Mike puts it up.
Astra. He's the rep? Yeah, no, he's head of the whole...
But to get a job referee in a grammar school game, you really don't have to be very competent. All you have to have is a zebra shirt.
You know as much as you guys do.
Faywell makes 1. Mike's first free throw and his 3rd point of the game. 3 points for Faywell, 19 for the Spartans. Ball comes in. Chris with a hand on it. The ball off the back. Faywell has it out to Dominguez, and Dominguez pushes it up the court. Ginelli in there, but Dominguez brings it over to Gove, into Chris. Chris puts it up. Faywell, no, Andy gets 2. Andy's 3rd basket, first basket of the second half, 6 points for Schmidt. Chris with the pass. It's an easy breakaway. He goes up, and it's off, and Ginelli is all over him.
You took too much time. You just need to go into the natural motion and lay it in instead of slow down to make sure he made it.
I don't know.
Was he fouled?
That happens. If you shoot enough layups, you'll miss him. Yes, he was fouled on the rebound. We get the ball out of bounds. Chris got fouled. Dominguez puts it up. Chris with the rebound. Shoots it too long. Ginelli with the rebound. A nice rebound by Ginelli.
We got the ball, so how could it be Chris gotten fouled?
We got fouled and we got the ball out because we're not in the bonus. It was not a shooting foul. Andy strips it. Andy with the ball. He's taking it all the way. Puts it up. It's off. Ginelli rebounds. Ginelli coming back the other way. Chris to beat. Dominguez slows it down. Goes for the steal. Misses it. Nobody moves around. Ginelli's the only player out there. Brusca. Back out to Prophet. Number 10. The lob to number 13. Chris goes over him. Fortunately doesn't foul him. The ball is thrown away. Gove with a hand in there. Andy with the rebound, and he's fouled. The ref has got his choice of 2 guys here because they both fouled him. Chris gives Andy a swat on the way by. Andy Schmidt, his first trip to the free throw line here. We're now in the 1-and-1 bonus. Puts it on the floor. Shot is up. It's off. Ginelli is big. Ginelli is big. They wanted a foul with Chris on his back, but he didn't get the call. Andy tries to steal. It's kicked away. I think it went through Chris's legs. Chris must have brushed it as it went through. We've got him by 10, 21-10 at this point. Into Brusca, he traveled, he kicked it, no call. Out to Prophet, number 10. Looking for Ginelli, can't get it in there. Ginelli looks a little bit old for an 8th grader, doesn't he? Good call.
I'm glad the refs are letting it roll. I mean, there's a lot of bumping there, but if they're going to call everything, we're going to fail against 7 guys.
Doesn't number 20, Ginelli, look a little bit old for an 8th grader? I saw him drive up in a convertible. Dominguez with a timeout with 2:15 to go. Steve Plum wants to talk this over. The scoring so far for Wheaton Christian, We've got Chris Bonga with 6, all in the first half. Andy Schmidt with 6. 2 points on baskets for Scott Bruce, Danny Dominguez, and Mike Faywell. Mike has also chipped in a free throw for a total of 3, and Gove has made 2 for 2 from the free throw line for 2 points. Total of 21 points for Wheaton Christian. But for the Lancers of St. Mike's, it's another story because 9 of their 11 points come from Ginelli, number 20, the big center. I bet you this is Ginelli's father. Huh? How does a little guy like that get such a big kid? He must have a tall milkman.
It's not the one in the gray suit. It's the...
I had the thing off, so when we replay that, you won't have to censor that out.
Come through here.
What?
This is still on.
Oh, you can't win them all. I didn't know that. Okay, on the floor now we have Dominguez and Gove, Bonga and Faywell, and Schmidt at the post. Ball comes into Chris, a long pass by Dominguez. Danny's open. Back to Danny. Gove pops out. Danny's got nowhere to go with it. He loses the ball. Danny fouls him. No call. Brusca tries to tackle him as he goes by, and he gets called for a cheap foul.
He's right.
He was fouled first. The ref missed the call. Now the ref's going to tell him to shut up, or the next one will be a technical.
No question about it. He had a bad deal. I'd be upset if I was him.
Yeah, but he tried to tackle the guy going by.
I know.
I mean, you know, in football, that would be a 15-yard personal foul. Gove at the line. He's 2 for 2 from the line today. He is 3 for 3 from the line. And in golf, if it was downhill and paved, it would go 500 yards. Jeff, chance to go 4 for 4. Steve Clem on the bench talking to Danny Cook. Gove misses it by a pretty good shot there, but he gets his own rebound. He puts it up. He's long. 13. Lucas rebounds. 3 points for Gove. Chris on Brusca. Manning. Back to Prophet. He drives. He comes down with the ball. And we'll have a rendition of Yes Indeed I'm Walking. Who is that singer? It wasn't Chubby Checker. Fats Domino with Yes Indeed I'm Walking. Now you're showing your age by knowing that answer, Jerry. Danny Cook is checked in for Dominguez. Ball comes into Chris. Chris drives, puts it up. Oh, the ball looked like it was there. Andy with a rebound, picks him up. 8 points for Schmidt. Nice rebound for Andy.
Good position. That's what counts.
Prophet to Brusca. Brusca travels again, and he looks at the ref and he says, "What do you mean travel? I only moved both feet." Sometimes it's hard to walk and chew gum at the same time. Danny Cook brings it over the timeline into Brian Knight, who's in for Chris. Faywell puts it up. Mike's got one, and he's fouled. Nice play by Mike Faywell. Mike's 5th point. Score is 26-11 as Steve is starting to substitute freely. Here we have Roger Poling, number 24, checking in for Gove. Gove played a nice game. Good shot selection, good shooting of free throws, no turnovers. Faywell at the line, shooting 1, chance for a 3-point play. Shot is up, it looks good, and it's right there. Mike has got it. Beautiful shot. That's his 6th point of the night. Andy leads with 8. Faywell and Bonga each with 6. Brian Knight on defense, but number 13, Lucas, puts it in over the ever-present Brian Knight. Over to Poling, to Andy. Andy drives, puts it up. He's short.
He's fouled on that shot, too. The guy got him on the arm.
Did he really?
Yep.
The long rebound comes into Cook. Brian Knight puts it up. Try to get this expression here now. Brian's going to the line. 27-13. 34 seconds to go. in the third quarter. Starters, Bonga, Gove, Dominguez on the bench. Faywell and Schmidt still in the game. Brian Knight does not go over the line, but he's a little bit off on the free throw. Brian Knight is 25. Roger Poling, 24. Danny Cook, number 4, getting some valuable court time here. Knight, not Knight, his name is Johnson, Brian Johnson. There's a kid by the name of Brian Knight that used to come to our Awana club. Poling all over him, good defense. Roger Poling comes in. Sheer determination by Poling's son, Roger. Lucas dishes it out. Ginelli with the move. He runs over Poling. No call either way. There had to be a foul there. There was contact. Either he had position or he didn't. Just that plain and simple. He's short, and it's gold ball, but Andy had a hand at his face, and Ginelli seemed to get a piece of the ball. I think it was a clean deflect. And at the end of the third quarter, it's the Lancers 27, the Lancers 13, the Spartans 27. It's a double, and in the third quarter, the officiating was a little bit more even. And now a word from our sponsors. The Super Bowl time goes for $600,000 per 30-second slot.
Actually, when we say it was a little, the officiating was a little more even, what you mean is they blew the calls in our favor instead of in their favor.
It's consistently inconsistent. We hope to have a party for the team at our house sometime at the end of the season, and we'll show all these videotapes to everybody that can watch them. And the penalty is you'll have to watch them until they get cross-eyed. You didn't erase your other tapes yet, did you? Because I got to get over there and get some of them. Okay, for the start of the fourth quarter. Andy Schmidt and Faywell are still in. Bringing the ball in is Cook and Poling. Schmidt meets the pass. Schmidt meets Cook's pass. Cook dribbles, uses his left hand, bounces it into Faywell. Faywell bounces it over to Schmidt with a turnaround jump shot. It's a little short. Brought off the boards by number 12, Davis, as in Jefferson Davis. Andy with a block, calls it out of bounds for St. Mike's. The number 1 team is losing 2-1. In the Ginelli. Ginelli turns, a nice move. Andy with a hand right in his face, but he put it down anyway. Just a good, strong move. Ball comes in. Poling almost throws it away. Cook saves it. The baseline is shut off well by number 10, who comes from behind. But Cook gets it over to Andy, who passes it back to Cook. Cook puts it up. Faywell over the back. And he fouls Lucas, as in Star Wars. Or Jerry Lucas. But the only thing this guy's got in common with Jerry Lucas is the same last name.
Or as in Lucas McCain.
Who?
Lucas McCain. The rifleman.
Number 10 brings the ball in to Ginelli, but Andy makes a beautiful play. Andy takes it all the way. Ginelli comes over. Andy puts it up. No foul again. Gove is in there. Man, I hurt the bouncing of their pads. Andy is saying, Coach Klum, what do I do? I was wailed on. And Coach Klum says, just keep it cool. Timeout for Wheaton, as Klum just wants this team calmed down.
Is Chris back in? No.
Oh, Chris is back in the game as well.
Screams at the ref, can't you hear it?
Who screamed at him?
Andy did. He said, can't you hear it?
Did the snap on the press and
This one ref was an All-American until his chest slipped. The score is 27-15. It's a blowout city. Chance to have all of our players get some court time. But these are historic days for Chicago, where the Monsters of the Midway stomp the Patriots. It's the Boston Patsies, not Boston Patriots. 46-10, including a 2-point safety by Weckler. Who ever heard of number 70, Weckler? I would say that Richard Dent, as MVP, has improved his bargaining position.
Slightly.
We've got our first 5 back in. Schmidt at center, Faywell and Bonga at the forwards, Dominguez and Gove at the guards. Number 12, double dribbles, no call. Number 3, looks like he's a little bit small for this team. Shot goes over Andy, Andy rebounds. Ball goes over to Dominguez. They've got to press on, and it's Danny Dominguez's job to break it and take care of the ball, and he does exactly that. Danny is bumped by number 10, Prophet, who says, who, me? I think it would be a safe statement to make that the refs have lost control of this game, don't you?
No more comment. We're going to win this game anyway. I mean, we're way out ahead.
27-15.
What really hurts is when it's a close game and we get beat by the refs. But
Dominguez at the free throw line. Ball goes off high. Chris has it. He's got a shot. He goes up, and he's got 2. Oh, he doesn't have 2. Andy picks him up. His is off. Off Faywell's arm. Should be blue ball, and it is.
It was our ball, wasn't it?
Faywell hit it out. Good call. Number 10, Prophet brings it down. Looks for Ginelli, gets it into Ginelli. Ginelli goes up. Andy intimidates him. Gove with the ball. He's got it down, and there's a foul on number 13, Lucas. And he says, what, me? I didn't do anything except hacked him up on the wrist.
Oh, Lucas McCain is. He's the rifleman. Don't you remember where they... That's Lucas McCain.
How do they do that again? I just spent a half an hour with my brother-in-law Art in the dentist chair.
You're still able to talk.
Much as I like to see him, this is more pleasant. Gove puts one in. Jeff's 4th point from the line today.
He's a dog.
4 for 5 from the line. He missed his 4th free throw. Jeff's shooting 80% today. That's right. That's right. And they're looking for him. Jeff is out. Andy over. Oh my goodness, they call Andy with a push. Andy gives him a funny look. Blue ball out of bounds. Plum has got a...
Call, ref. First one.
The announcers are getting in the game. Andy now with his 4th foul. Chris in trouble with 3. Gove in trouble with 3. Almost 4 minutes to go in the game. 28-15, almost a double. Ball is tipped. Gove has it. Lost it. Number 3 fouled him. And the ref gave us the call as Jeff was going to the basket. Foul on number 3 on the blue. MC, capital C. Here comes Dan Johnson for Mike Faywell. Mike played a super game. Checks out having scored 6 points, 2 baskets, 2 free throws, 1 foul. A lot of rebounds today. Mike looks a little blasé on the bench as Gove bounces at 4 for 6 from the line today. First one is right there. 5 points, 5 out of 7 for Mike from the free throw line.
I want Jeff to put these down.
Jeff has got a super shot.
Andy's going to follow up.
What I like is when we have 2 unbiased commentators here.
Say it again.
I said absolutely.
He said, now you know.
It's better if we had 2 unbiased refs.
There we go. Jeff makes his 6th point, shooting 75% from the line. 6 out of 8. Dan Johnson at forward. Pass gets lobbed over Johnson. Johnson fouls. Oftentimes a player will make one mistake and then make up for it with a second, a foul. Good call by the ref. I don't know if you fans out in television land are aware of this or not, but this Lancer team is coached by a priest who also teaches 2 days of school here in the school. Teaches their religion courses. .30-15. Ball is off the back of the iron. Andy brings it down. Andy takes it all the way. Ginelli comes back. Andy feeds it into Dominguez, but it's intercepted, and they called travel as there was excellent defense by Danny Dominguez chopping in there from underneath with the hand, and Andy gives Dominguez a low 5. Ginelli and Schmidt into Chris. Chris goes up, overshoots. Foul on Gove. 14 had rebounding position, and Manny will go with the line. That is Jeff Gove's 4th foul. Gove and Andy very close to fouling out with 3 minutes to go in the game. 3.5. Chris with a one-man press. Nice jump shot. Here goes Andy. Andy's got Chris on one wing. Andy takes it himself. He puts it in. He's got it. Schmidt with 6 in the second half. 10 points in the game. High score for the game, exceeding Ginelli.
Looks up in his ribs.
That's great. I was writing it down. I didn't see it.
Sorry to say, 2 fathers buttering up each other.
It's just like Andy narrowly misses, and Chris just barely made it.
Oh, here comes a nice pass to Dominguez. Danny's taking it in. He's got one. Ooh, he's fouled. Oh, ref. Dominguez is pushed into the wall, and there is no foul call.
All right, Danny.
Bring out the stretcher for Dominguez.
We need a replay here.
And now we have Jonathan Thorne checking in for Chris Bonga. Chris checks out with 6 first-half points and 3 fouls for the game. 32-15. Andy checks out with 4 fouls, 10 points. Schulenberg in for Schmidt. Thorne with a nice rebound. Well, Schulenberg gets his name in the scorebook as 3 seconds in the lane. We set up a pup tent there.
Every... No, I want it off. I want it off.
Go ahead. It's off, see?
Never mind.
6 points. Ginelli with the rebound. Schulenberg on him. Ginelli puts it up. It's off. Gove with a nice rebound, and 12 is all over him. Number 12 called for assault and battery.
That's not skill. Yeah, Josh doesn't do it. He stands in the lane, he gets held, then he doesn't do it after that, but he's got to get it once.
He pushed Ginelli out of the way pretty well, I'll tell you. Dominguez with a shot from out, off the front, a nice shot. Gove almost, Ginelli in there. He comes down, Thorne was in a little bumping contest there. You know who's going to win that bumping contest? Ginelli against Jonathan. The score with 1 minute and 54 seconds. They're all obnoxious cheers. The cheer I like is we're number 1. They're down 32-15.
Can I use that one?
Yeah. Can you believe it?
that your favorite cheer?
For this team, yeah. Chinelli checks out. Played a fine game. He had 9 points according to my unofficial stats. I have to check with David Fisher's revised fixed stats. It looks like Brian Leach is keeping the other ones because I don't see Kurt Bilston today. Kurt must be sick. Must be. Look at Coach Cullum just laughing on the bench.
But he's disconnected over there. You've been talking into a blank.
Good rebound by Dan Johnson. He ripped it down, made a bad pass though after the rebound, and it was intercepted by number 12, Davis, who walked down the lane and was called for the travel.
I don't think that was a travel.
No? Okay.
One step and then he let the ball go.
Gove with number 10, Eric Van Conant into Eric. A travel by Eric Van Conant. Jonathan Thorne helped bring the ball down. It looks like now Danny Cook will come in for Gove. So now we've got all the starters out. Great game, Jeff. Good free throw shooting. Gets a high five from Poling. Oh, Eric gets in there with a little knee. 1-0, says the ref. What are you doing? What are you doing to me here?
Does that last one battery last you a game?
Oh, it lasts about 45 minutes. I put 2 in. I put them, change them at the half. I can't get
minute and a half.
but I can get 3/4.
Minute and a half in the game. Number 5, Bruska. Violation on Bruska over the line too fast.
Yeah, the thing you push it standby, and so you don't lose anything by turning it off the line. Say you want it on pause for 10 minutes. If you push standby, it doesn't use any juice. It stands by.
Good pass from Cook into Dan Johnson. Johnson feeds it back out to Cook. Into Jonathan Thorne, who is assaulted as he goes by. There's no call. The ref says, I got to get home for dinner. And they call the ball out for the Blue Lancers. Number 12 rescues the ball. Lucas over to Bruska, over to McConaughey, into Bruska as he drives the lane and gets whacked on the elbow by 2 Gold players. And then we have Poling and Scott Bruce checking back into the lineup. Poling checks in for Cook. Bruce checks in for Schulenberg. Bruce got the first basket of our subs today. A nice shot, which tickled the twine. Woo, right there. Good looking free throw. Bruska with his 2nd point of the day. Look at this. Plum was talking to Chris. He was talking and joking on the bench over there. Look at this. Sorry, Barry. I'm sorry. You see Clem talking to Chris on the end of the bench? Ball into Poling. A minute exactly to go in the game. We're going to have trouble at the 10-second line here. If Scott Bruce did not get it over, he traveled. Steve says, get the ball over the line. Don't horse around with it. Woo! Bodies flying all over the place. No call. You know, ref, I would like a whistle up here. Van Conant into Scott Bruce. He gives up his dribble. Back to Jonathan Thorne, who puts his head down and says, let's go for it, guys. There's the lob into Johnson. No foul again. 1st and 10. Do it again. Scott Bruce brings it in. Cross-court pass.
Takes 2 steps.
Intercepted. Oh, Dr. J move, but he came down with it in midair. 32 for Wheaton Christian. 16 for the Lancers of St. Mike's. Scoring for Wheaton Christian, 10 for Schmidt, 6 for Bonga, 6 for Gove, all for the line, 6 for Faywell, 2 for Bruce, and 2 for Dominguez. We have something here today we haven't had all year, balanced scoring. We've got 1 guy with 10, 3 guys with 6, and 3 guys with 2.
No.
2 guys with 2.
We'll play him again at our place later.
Like to play. We'd like to play him about 6 times a year. Yeah, we play him I think a week from Friday at home.
With our refs.
Yeah, with the Protestant refs.
Actually, that fellow with the beard has refed our games before.
Yeah.
We had him.
Frankly, I'd rather have a good college student. .22. I think that's what they've been doing the last 3 minutes. They're trying to get us home. 6:25. 6:25. Be some late suppers in the western suburbs tonight. Van Conant is number 10. Good night, Artie. Thanks for coming. You getting to ride with your folks? Good to see you. Welcome home. Look at Clum laughing on the sideline. Steve is just enjoying it. The guy's trying to do something and having trouble getting the ball getting away from him. 13 seconds. This game is about history. And Brusca, just for the record, wanted 1 more travel. I think his dad may be an ear doctor. No? Good interception by Brian. A good catch by Brian Johnson. Oh, a basket, but it's not allowed. Hey, Art. We got to get the last couple of minutes on film here. Oh, look at that. He almost threw it into the locker room. That's the game. 33 for the Spartans, 16 for the Lancers. Do that cheer, we're number 1 again.
It was a win back.
Hey, cheerleaders, come back and do that we're number 1 cheer again. Oh. What are you trying? Okay, it's February 4th, 1986, and we're here for an 8th grade game with Wheaton Christian Spartans against St. Mike's Catholic School from across town in Wheaton. At the end of the first quarter, it's Wheaton Christian 12, the guests 4. Andy must have 6-8 points. Mike has a couple. Chris has 2 points. There's a feed in from Chris to Andy. Andy with a soft jump shot. We've had some excellent passing with a beautiful assist from Dominguez to, I think, either Andy or Gove. Good passes from Chris.